Everybody, this is Chad Oak with Nobody Else's Auto. We've got over 1,100 classic and antique cars in our salvage yard. We've got restored cars, signage, all kinds of really cool gearhead stuff. I've been doing this my whole life. If you've been here before at our new show called Nobody Show, thanks for coming back. Glad to see you again. If you're new, don't miss it. We're going to talk about gearhead stuff and everything that gearheads love. We're going to be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock. Don't miss it. Let's jump into the show and see what we got this week. Hey everybody, this is Chad with Nobody Show. At the end of the last episode, we told you we're going to do some digging in one of my little cabinets in the office. The cabinet itself actually came out of a Phillips 66 station. It was the candy cabinet in the gas station. I'm sure some of you probably remember getting candy bars out of cabinets like this. This is literally where this came from. It came from the Phillips 66 station at 10th and Kansas in Great Bend, Kansas. Nice little display cabinet. I put some of my cool stuff in here. So let's take a look inside and see what we got. Up here on the top shelf, we got some cool stuff. Lots of cans, lots of tin. We got a little toy Chevy truck. It's kind of cool. See if we can get it out of the box without destroying the box. But it was a little toy kit to put your Chevy truck together. Kind of a neat little piece. But all kinds of cool little toys, cans. We've got a Plymouth drag race game standing up there in the back that was a dealer promotional deal. Has a Sox and Martin GTX on the front. Really nice display piece. Little promotional buttons for the 32 Ford. Just little knick-knack stuff. We come down here to the bottom shelf. Got a few bigger things down here that we always like to see. Globes. Gas globes are always cool. We've got an assortment of those. They're just difficult to display. I've got some more of them I need to get out. Some oil cans. A really cool can here, a Silent Chief from, this is actually a Wichita, Kansas company. There's some more Silent Chief stuff. The Security Oil Company out of Wichita. That's a pretty cool can with great graphics. Some Skelly pump signs. You want to read about the Tucker? There's one of the original Tucker topics for the Tucker automobile. Really cool piece we like to keep around. It's always kind of neat to flip through that every once in a while. Little International Metromite toy. An original dealer toy. Really cool piece. Opens up in the back. The Mobil Oil Pegasus tag topper. Those are always a cool little piece. Always display nice. Motometers are always cool pieces. This happens to be a winged one. Had a great looking piece that would have went on the radiator, on top of a radiator on something real early. And all kinds of little neat knick-knack pieces. Salt and pepper shakers, which used to be a common giveaway at gas stations. Here we have a set of Texacos, Sky Chief and Fire Chief. Most companies did have something like that. A lot of this stuff is really cool. We found it over the years. The Silent Chief can, for example, that was actually found in the back of a school bus about 30 years ago. My dad and I were in an old salvage yard in Hutchinson, Kansas. Found a box of these in the back of an old school bus. Almost every piece in here, is something like that. This piece here, for instance, which is kind of cool, it's a tack, but it looks a little different than most tacks that we know of, being car guys. The back of it has kind of a weird hookup. Come out of... a buddy of mine had a P-51 Mustang. This was a tack out of his P-51. So, kind of a cool piece I like to display. And we even dig down here in the bottom a little bit. I don't even know for sure what's in here. I haven't looked in here in a while. Let's see what we can find. Some more gas globe lenses for Mobil. Nice pieces, good color. Put those up here so we don't bust them. And let's do a little bit of digging here. Collection of maps. Everybody used to have maps. Every gas station had a whole rack full of maps. They had great colors, great graphics. They wanted you to buy their maps. They're, again, something you don't see every day anymore. Everybody's got GPS on their phone. Everybody branded their own stuff. The battery cable box is even cool. They wanted you to buy theirs. We got little toys, knickknacks, little metal toys. Roadmaster. That's kind of a cool piece off the trunk of a 51 Buick Roadmaster. You know, you were saying something when you were calling your car a Roadmaster. Oh, more cans. And more toys. Oh man, I don't even know what we're all gonna find in here. More toys. More Volkswagen toys. Studebaker ad, the Flying Fortress. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, back during World War II, the car manufacturers became manufacturers for whatever needed to be made. There's a Studebaker ad touting their work with the Flying Fortress for World War II. The back of the ad is a Mobile Gas ad talking about what they did for World War II. And these were very common back in the day. These companies were still involved in production, but it was all for the war effort. And that's what their advertising showed. That's what they were doing. Oh. Speaking of war, rations, mileage rations from World War II. Certificate of War Necessity for a commercial vehicle. You had to have all that. If you were going to be able to tag your car and get tires and get fuel on a regular basis, you had to have this paperwork in World War II. Oh, here's a cool piece. You want to order a new 51 Chevrolet? Here's where you picked your colors. These were the colors that were available for a 51 Chevy. You picked your body style, you flipped it over, you laid the color over it, and you looked at what the car looked like in that color. Then, once you found an exterior color that you liked, you picked out your interior to go with it. And that's what this whole little book was for. There's your picture colors and convertible top fabrics. Station wagon upholstery. Really neat little piece. What else we got in here? Oh, you want to learn to fly a B-17? There's an original pilot training manual for the B-17 Flying Fortress. Kind of a cool piece, great conversation piece. Back in the day, back in World War II, this was a big, big deal. I mean, you know, aviation was to a certain extent still in its infancy. We'd only been flying for 30 or 40 years at that point. And what they did with aircraft back in that day and what they did with technology for what they had to work with was utterly amazing. If you study some of the aircraft and the developments that they were able to put together and develop and design because of World War II, it's amazing. So, all kinds of neat stuff in here. Sales brochures, prototype stuff. Chrysler Hemi engineering book. This is a book on the Hemi engine when Chrysler first designed and built the Hemi engines. So, old magazines, popular hot rodding. Here's a cool piece. Sports Illustrated. Everybody's heard of Sports Illustrated. The April 24th, 1961 issue was about hot rodders. Let's slide it out of there and take a look at it real quick. Sports Illustrated, everybody knows baseball, football, yada, yada, yada. But hot rodding was a big deal, and they literally covered it. I mean, the amazing hot rod cult hit the cover of Sports Illustrated back in the early 60s. So there's some of the pictures of the article, nice color spread on it. It was really becoming pretty mainstream. It was to the point where it was hard to ignore. You know, hot rodding had a kind of a bad boy image in the 50s, but at that point it was in music, it was part of culture, and it had come together, and it was part of the nature of the beast. It was part of the world at that point, and it was getting the national recognition it deserved. So, this is just some of the stuff that we like to keep. We enjoy it. We like it. You know, these videos are going to get into a lot more than just going through my stuff. This whole program's not going to be about, you know, what's kind of junks this guy have sitting around. We're going to get into a lot of different things as far as how to do what I do, and what makes it successful for me, how I can make a living doing what I enjoy. We're going to get into how to help you find parts for your cars, what you need to do for find parts for your projects and be successful. We're going to cover a lot of different topics. We want all that information out there so that you can be more successful, either trying to do what I do and try to make a living at it, or to be more successful in building cars and working on your project and finding the parts that you need. All right, for the next show, guys, let's come into the office. We're going to bring up a few pictures of where we're going to go next for the next episode. So, here's where we're going to go next. We're going to go out there, we're going to start walking around, we're going to start talking about some of these vehicles. We'll get some of the backstories on some of them and talk about specific things. Maybe some of them have interesting stories of where they came from, how I acquired them. A lot of cool stuff out there, lots and lots of things to see. We've got about 1,100 of them out there. So we got a lot of things to see and do out there. Thanks for watching. Glad you were here. Hope you join us again next time. And see you then.